The Warning In. A galaxy far from Earth, the Galactic Empire ruled with unmatched power and confidence. Their vast starships cruised through space, their planets glistened with advanced technology, and their armies were feared by all. The Empire had never faced a serious challenge, and their leaders believed they were invincible. On the outskirts of their dominion, Earth had recently joined the galactic stage. Humans had always been curious and resourceful, but they had kept their technological advances secret for a long time. As they stepped into the broader universe, they knew it was time to make their presence known. Earth's leaders decided it was crucial to send a warning to the Galactic Empire, a warning they hoped would prevent an unnecessary conflict. Ambassador Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned diplomat with a reputation for firmness and clarity, was chosen to deliver this important message. She boarded a sleek, advanced spacecraft designed for high-speed travel and communication. Her mission was straightforward: to warn the Galactic Empire that Earth was not to be underestimated. The journey to the heart of the Galactic Empire took several days. As Sarah's ship approached the Empire's capital planet, it was met with impressive displays of power, massive space stations, fleets of starships, and towering cities that shimmered in the dark expanse of space. It was a sight to behold, but Sarah's resolve remained unshaken. Upon arrival, Sarah's ship was escorted to the Empire's grand meeting hall. The hall was enormous, with high ceilings and walls adorned with holographic displays of the Empire's conquests. At the center of the room sat the Empire's leaders, a group of imposing figures who exuded authority and arrogance. They watched as Sarah entered, their expressions a mix of curiosity and disdain. Sarah stepped forward confidently and began her message. "Esteemed leaders of the Galactic Empire, I come on behalf of Earth. We have observed your power and your reach across the galaxy. We wish to deliver a message of warning. Do not underestimate us. Should you attempt to challenge us, be prepared for a conflict unlike any you have faced before." The room fell silent. The Empire's leaders exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting a mixture of amusement and disbelief. The head of the Galactic Council, a tall figure with a stern face and a voice that commanded respect, spoke up. "You come from a small, unremarkable planet and you dare to threaten us? Your message is noted, but we see no reason to take it seriously." Sarah's eyes narrowed slightly, but she remained calm. "I understand your skepticism, but I urge you to reconsider. We have advanced technology and a spirit of resilience that may surprise you. We are not as insignificant as we might appear." The Empire's leaders chuckled, their laughter echoing through the hall. "Very well," the council head said. "We will consider your warning, but do not expect us to be intimidated. We have dealt with countless species, and none have posed a real threat. Your message will be filed away with the others." With that, the meeting was concluded. Sarah left the hall with a sense of unease. She knew that the Empire's dismissive attitude could lead to serious consequences. Yet she also knew that she had done her part to prepare them for what lay ahead. The warning had been delivered, and now it was up to the Empire to heed it, or not. As Sarah's ship departed from the Empire's capital, she could see the vast expanse of the Empire's territory spreading out before her. The Empire's confidence was evident, but so was their arrogance. She hoped that her message would reach them, that they would take it seriously before it was too late. Back in the Empire's capital, the leaders continued their daily routines, their minds already shifting to other matters. They were busy planning their next expansions and dealing with internal politics. The warning from Earth was soon forgotten in the whirlwind of their grand plans. Little did they know the message Sarah had delivered was more than just a formality. It was a harbinger of the challenges that awaited them. Earth's advancements were not just limited to technology, but extended to strategy, resilience, and a determination to protect their world. The Galactic Empire had brushed off the warning, but soon they would find themselves facing the consequences of their arrogance. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the Empire's strength and reveal the true capabilities of humanity. As the days passed, tensions began to rise, and both sides prepared for what was to come. The Empire's leaders would soon learn that Earth was not to be taken lightly, and the galaxy would witness a clash of powers that would change the course of history. For now, the Galactic Empire remained oblivious to the storm brewing on the horizon. They had underestimated the human spirit, and as they continued their complacent ways, the countdown to a new era of conflict had begun. The warning had been given, and the galaxy waited to see how this epic confrontation would unfold. The first fight, the Galactic Empire, still unshaken by the warning from Earth, decided to put their strength to the test. They sent a small fleet of starships to Earth expecting an easy victory. The Empire's leaders were confident that this would be a simple task. They believed that their advanced technology and military might would crush any resistance from the humans. As the fleet approached Earth, the starships gleamed in the darkness of space, their powerful engines emitting a soft, ominous glow. The Empire's fleet was equipped with the latest weapons and shield technology. The ships were large and intimidating, each one bristling with weaponry designed to overpower any foe. On Earth, the military and defense teams were on high alert. Ambassador Sarah Mitchell's warning had not been in vain. Earth's leaders had taken the threat seriously and had prepared for this very moment. Hidden within Earth's atmosphere, advanced defense systems and fleets of fighter ships were ready to respond. The first sign of the approaching fleet came from Earth's radar stations. The information was quickly relayed to the Defense Command Center. The Earth's military, though less advanced in some ways compared to the Empire, had worked tirelessly to develop new technologies and strategies. They were ready for this challenge. The Empire's fleet entered Earth's orbit and began their approach. The leader of the fleet, a stern-faced admiral named Varnak, issued the order to begin their attack. He was confident that this would be a quick and easy battle, a mere display of power. However, what he didn't know was that Earth had prepared some surprises. As the Empire's ships unleashed their first volley of laser blasts, Earth's defenses activated. The lasers struck Earth's shield barriers, which glowed brightly but held firm. The Empire's weapons, while advanced, were not designed to breach such strong defenses. Then, from Earth's surface, a fleet of human fighter jets roared into the sky. These jets were nimble and fast, equipped with new technology designed to outmaneuver the Empire's ships. The first encounter was intense. The human pilots, though fewer in number, used hit-and-run tactics to their advantage. They darted in and out of the Empire's fleet, launching precise attacks that damaged several of the larger ships. The Empire's ships were caught off guard by the unexpected resistance. The nimbleness and agility of the human fighters proved to be a challenge. The Empire's ships, while powerful, were not as quick or agile. This gave the humans a significant advantage. The Empire's admirals watched in shock as their ships sustained damage and were forced to retreat from the relentless attacks. Admiral Varnak, frustrated and bewildered, tried to regain control. He ordered a full-scale assault, thinking that sheer numbers would overpower the humans. However, the humans' tactics and strategies continued to thwart his efforts. Earth's forces had anticipated this response and had prepared countermeasures that further disrupted the Empire's attacks. The battle continued for several hours. The sky above Earth was filled with flashes of light as the two sides clashed. The Empire's ships, once so confident, were now struggling to maintain their positions. Human ground forces and defense systems also played a role, coordinating their efforts to support the fighter jets and defend their planet. As the day wore on, it became clear that the Empire was not achieving the easy victory they had expected. The battle was proving to be more difficult and costly than they had anticipated. The Empire's losses were mounting, and their ships were becoming increasingly damaged. The once confident admiral was now facing a difficult decision. Admiral Varnak decided to pull back and regroup. He signaled for his fleet to retreat to the outer reaches of Earth's orbit. The retreat was not a sign of defeat, but it was a strategic move to assess the damage and reconsider their approach. The Empire's fleet began to withdraw, leaving behind a trail of damaged ships and a new understanding of the human threat. As the Empire's fleet disappeared into the distance, Earth's defenders celebrated their hard-fought victory. They had managed to repel the first attack from one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The humans' resilience and resourcefulness had been put to the test, and they had proven themselves capable of defending their world. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's leaders and military strategists gathered to assess the situation. They knew that this was only the beginning. The Galactic Empire would likely regroup and return with more force. However, they were also aware that they had made a powerful statement. The humans were not to be underestimated. Back in the Galactic Empire, Admiral Varnak reported to the leaders. His report was grim. The Empire's leaders were stunned by the unexpected outcome. They had underestimated the humans and their defenses. The initial overconfidence had been replaced with a cautious respect. The Empire would need to reassess its strategies and approach to dealing with Earth. The first fight had set the stage for a larger and more complex conflict. Both sides now had a clearer understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses. The battle had shown that humans were not only capable of defending their world, but were also willing to fight fiercely for it. The Galactic Empire, once confident in their superiority, now faced a new challenge. The fight for Earth was far from over, and the conflict had only just begun. The discovery, in the wake of their surprising defeat, the Galactic Empire's leaders were left reeling. The brief but intense battle with Earth had not gone as planned. The once confident Admiral Varnak returned to the Empire's capital with a troubling report. The Empire's leaders, accustomed to dominating their enemies effortlessly, were now faced with a new reality. Humanity was not as weak as they had assumed. The Empire's Council, a group of the most powerful and influential leaders, convened an emergency meeting. The room was filled with holographic displays of star systems and tactical maps, reflecting the gravity of the situation. The leaders, with their stern faces and cold eyes, gathered to discuss the implications of the recent conflict. Admiral Varnak, began the head of the council, a tall figure named Zarek, explained to us how a relatively primitive planet managed to inflict such damage on our fleet. Admiral Varnak stood rigidly, his face marked with concern. The humans' defenses were more advanced than we expected. Their fighter jets were agile and equipped with technology that allowed them to evade our attacks. We underestimated their ability to resist. Zarek's eyes narrowed. Underestimated is an understatement. We need to understand why and how they managed to turn the tide against us. We cannot afford another failure. The Council agreed. They ordered their intelligence agencies to launch a full investigation into Earth's technology and military capabilities. They needed to uncover the secrets that had allowed the humans to challenge their might. In the following days, Empire scientists and analysts worked tirelessly. They pored over the data from the battle, studying the damaged ships and analyzing the technology that had been used against them. They found that Earth's technology, while not as advanced in some areas, had innovative features that were unfamiliar to the Empire. One key discovery was the human use of energy shields. These shields were not only resilient but also capable of withstanding powerful energy blasts. The Empire's weapons, designed to break through typical shields, were less effective against the humans' advanced defenses. Another surprising find was the technology behind the human fighter jets. These jets were equipped with new propulsion systems that allowed for incredible speed and maneuverability. The Empire's larger ships, designed for heavy firepower, struggled to keep up with the nimble fighters. The Empire's scientists were also intrigued by the humans' strategic approach. The Earth's military used tactics that were unconventional and difficult to predict. Their hit-and-run strategies, combined with clever use of terrain and technology, had turned the tide of the battle. As the investigation progressed, the Empire's leaders grew increasingly concerned. The once dismissive attitude toward Earth was replaced with a cautious respect. The data revealed that humans were not just a minor nuisance, but a serious threat. The Empire's confidence was shaken, and they knew they had to adapt their strategies. In the midst of the analysis, a breakthrough came when an Empire technician managed to decrypt a portion of the data from Earth's communications. This data provided insights into Earth's military strategy and future plans. The Empire's intelligence revealed that Earth was preparing for a prolonged conflict, not just a single battle. Armed with this new information, the Empire's Council convened again. Zarek addressed the group with a grim expression. "We have underestimated Earth's capabilities. Their technology and strategies are more advanced than we anticipated. We must revise our plans and prepare for a more extended engagement." The council members nodded in agreement. They realized that the key to victory lay in understanding and countering the strengths of their opponent. They decided to intensify their efforts to study human technology and devise new tactics. Meanwhile, on Earth, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The humans had successfully defended their planet and inflicted significant damage on the Empire's fleet. The victory boosted morale, but the leaders knew the fight was far from over. They understood that the Empire would return, and the conflict would escalate. Earth's leaders used the time wisely to strengthen their defenses. They invested in research and development to enhance their technology and military capabilities. They also focused on improving their strategic planning, learning from the recent battle to anticipate the Empire's next moves. The discovery of the Empire's weaknesses and the knowledge gained from the battle were valuable assets. Earth's military strategists worked diligently to prepare for the next confrontation. They were determined to use every advantage they had to protect their world and secure their future. Back in the Galactic Empire, the revised strategy called for a more cautious and calculated approach. The Empire's leaders knew that a direct assault might not be as effective as before. They began developing new technologies and tactics to counter Earth's advantages. The stage was set for a new phase in the conflict. The Empire was no longer confident in their invincibility, and Earth was more prepared than ever. The discovery of each side's strengths and weaknesses marked the beginning of a more complex and challenging battle. As both sides prepared for the next encounter, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The conflict between the Galactic Empire and Earth had evolved from a simple clash to a high-stakes war, where every advantage and every strategy would make a difference. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the true test of strength and resilience was yet to come: human retaliation. In the aftermath of their unexpected victory, Earth's leaders knew that they could not afford to rest on their laurels. The Galactic Empire's recent defeat had only spurred them to reassess their strategies. The next encounter was sure to be more intense and better prepared. The humans needed to be ready for the Empire's counterattack. On Earth, military leaders and scientists worked around the clock to enhance their defenses and develop new offensive capabilities. They had learned valuable lessons from the recent battle, and they were determined to use that knowledge to their advantage. The humans' first priority was to strengthen their defensive systems. Earth's engineers improved the energy shields to withstand even more powerful attacks. They also upgraded their fighter jets with better armor and advanced weapons. The goal was clear: to ensure that Earth could repel any future assaults from the Empire. At the same time, the military strategists devised a plan for retaliation. They knew that the Galactic Empire was likely to return with a larger force, and they wanted to be prepared to strike back effectively. The plan involved a series of coordinated attacks designed to disrupt the Empire's operations and create new challenges for their forces. The first phase of the retaliation plan was to launch a surprise attack on one of the Empire's key supply depots. The humans identified a location on the edge of the Empire's territory where supplies and reinforcements were stored. A team of elite operatives, trained for stealth and precision, was assigned the task of infiltrating the depot and sabotaging it. The mission was carefully planned. The operatives, equipped with advanced stealth technology, approached the depot under the cover of darkness. They moved silently, avoiding detection by the Empire's security systems. Their goal was to plant explosive devices and destroy as much of the supply stockpile as possible. As the operatives set their charges, they encountered a few guards but managed to neutralize them quickly and quietly. The operation was going smoothly until one of the explosive devices malfunctioned. The noise from the malfunction alerted nearby patrols, and the team had to make a hasty escape. Despite the setback, the mission was a success. The depot was heavily damaged, and the explosion sent a clear message to the Empire: Earth was not to be taken lightly. The disruption to the Empire's supply lines would have a significant impact on their ability to wage war. Back on Earth, the success of the mission boosted morale and confidence. The human forces were ready for the next phase of their retaliation plan. They had managed to demonstrate their ability to strike effectively, even against a more powerful adversary. The second phase involved launching a series of attacks on the Empire's outer colonies. These colonies were not as heavily defended as the core worlds, making them vulnerable to targeted strikes. The goal was to create chaos and force the Empire to divert resources away from their main forces. The attacks were carried out with precision. Human fighter jets, now equipped with improved weapons, targeted key infrastructure and military installations on the colonies. The Empire's response was swift but disorganized. The Empire's forces were stretched thin, trying to respond to multiple threats at once. In one notable engagement, a human fleet ambushed an Empire patrol near a remote colony. The humans, using their knowledge of the Empire's tactics, managed to outmaneuver and defeat the patrol with minimal losses. The victory was a significant blow to the Empire's efforts to maintain control over their outer territories. The Empire's leadership was forced to acknowledge the effectiveness of the human retaliation. The coordinated attacks had achieved their objective. They had disrupted the Empire's operations and forced them to reconsider their approach. The Galactic Empire was no longer dealing with a passive opponent, but with a determined and capable adversary. Admiral Varnak, now back in command of the Empire's forces, was tasked with dealing with the growing threat from Earth. The Admiral and his team analyzed the results of the recent attacks and began devising a new strategy to counter the humans' actions. The Empire's response involved a combination of defensive measures and counterattacks. They reinforced their supply lines, increased security at their colonies, and prepared for more direct engagements with Earth's forces. The goal was to regain control and reassert their dominance in the conflict. Back on Earth, the military leadership continued to refine their strategies. They knew that the conflict was far from over, and that the Empire would continue to challenge them. The humans remained focused on their objectives, to defend their planet and to retaliate effectively against their formidable foe. The conflict between Earth and the Galactic Empire had entered a new phase. The initial encounters had proven that both sides were capable of inflicting significant damage. The retaliation by Earth had demonstrated their resolve and ability to adapt. As both sides prepared for the next stage of the war, the stakes were higher than ever. The galaxy watched with anticipation as the battle between Earth and the Galactic Empire unfolded. The conflict was no longer just a series of isolated skirmishes, but a full-scale war with far-reaching implications. The outcome would shape the future of both Earth and the Galactic Empire, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see how this epic struggle would play out. The turning point. The war between Earth and the Galactic Empire had become a brutal and protracted struggle. Both sides had suffered losses and made significant adjustments to their strategies. The Empire, despite their initial confidence, faced an increasingly determined adversary. The humans, having proven their ability to strike back effectively, now looked for a decisive advantage that could turn the tide in their favor. The Galactic Empire had been working on a new weapon, a powerful energy cannon designed to obliterate entire cities with a single shot. The weapon, still in its testing phase, was a closely guarded secret. If completed and deployed, it could potentially end the conflict in favor of the Empire. The weapon was being built on a remote space station, hidden deep within the Empire's territory. On Earth, intelligence agencies had intercepted fragmented communications, indicating the existence of this new weapon. The information suggested that the weapon was nearing completion and could be operational within weeks. The news was alarming, and Earth's leaders knew they had to act quickly to prevent the Empire from using it against them. The plan was to launch a daring mission to destroy the space station before the weapon could be used. The mission required careful planning and coordination. A special task force, composed of elite soldiers and engineers, was assembled. Their objective was clear: infiltrate the space station, plant explosives, and destroy the weapon. The task force, led by Commander Jason Carter, prepared for the mission with precision. They studied the space station's layout, identified security weaknesses, and trained extensively to ensure success. The space station was heavily guarded, and the mission would be extremely dangerous. But the potential consequences of failure made it a risk worth taking. The night before the mission, Commander Carter gathered his team for a briefing. The atmosphere was tense but determined. "This is our chance to make a real difference in this war," Carter said. "If we can take out this weapon, we not only protect our planet, but also strike a major blow to the Empire's plans. We need to be fast, precise, and ready for anything." The team nodded in agreement. They knew the stakes and were prepared to give everything to ensure the mission's success. As they boarded their stealth shuttle and made their way to the space station, they focused on their objectives, pushing aside any fear or doubt. The shuttle approached the space station under the cover of darkness, evading detection with advanced cloaking technology. The team disembarked and made their way through the station's exterior maintenance tunnels. They moved swiftly and silently, avoiding security patrols and bypassing electronic locks. Once inside the station, the team set up a temporary base of operations. They accessed the station's central control systems and began locating the energy cannon. The weapon was housed in a heavily fortified chamber, protected by a complex security system. The team's engineers worked to disable the security measures, while the soldiers stood guard. They encountered several close calls with security patrols, but their training in stealth kept them from being detected. The tension was high as they neared the weapon's chamber. After several hours of intense work, the team managed to gain access to the chamber. The energy cannon, a massive and formidable structure, stood before them. The engineers quickly set up the explosives while the soldiers provided cover. The operation had to be executed flawlessly to ensure the weapon's destruction. As the countdown to detonation began, the team encountered unexpected resistance. Empire security forces, alerted to the presence of intruders, stormed the chamber. A fierce battle erupted. The team fought valiantly, holding off the attackers while the explosives continued to count down. Commander Carter and his team faced overwhelming odds, but their determination never wavered. They fought with everything they had, knowing that the success of their mission was crucial. Despite the fierce resistance, they managed to hold their ground and complete the task. With the explosives set, the team made a hasty retreat. They navigated back through the maintenance tunnels and boarded their shuttle. As they fled the space station, they watched from a distance as a massive explosion erupted. The energy cannon, along with the space station, was reduced to debris. The destruction of the space station was a significant blow to the Galactic Empire. The loss of their new weapon not only affected their plans, but also demoralized their forces. The Empire's leaders were furious and scrambled to reassess their strategies. The turning point had been reached and the balance of power had shifted. Back on Earth, the mission's success was met with jubilation. The destruction of the weapon was celebrated as a major victory. The human forces were emboldened by their achievement and prepared for the next phase of their campaign. The turning point had given them newfound confidence and momentum. As the war continued, the Galactic Empire faced an uphill battle. The loss of their weapon and the ongoing resistance from Earth's forces forced them to reconsider their approach. The conflict had reached a critical juncture, and both sides were determined to achieve their objectives. The turning point in the war marked a new phase in the struggle between Earth and the Galactic Empire. The conflict was far from over, but the destruction of the energy cannon had given the humans a crucial advantage. As the galaxy watched, the battle for supremacy continued, with both sides preparing for the next decisive clash. The peace talks, the destruction of the Galactic Empire's energy cannon, had sent shock waves through the galaxy. Both Earth and the Empire had suffered significant losses, and the war had reached a point where continued conflict seemed increasingly costly and futile. Amid the ongoing battles, whispers of a potential ceasefire began to emerge. On Earth, the mood was a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. The military had made substantial gains, but the cost of war had been high. Leaders across the planet recognized that the time might be right to explore the possibility of peace. The loss of the energy cannon had shifted the balance of power, creating an opportunity for negotiations. President Helena Carter, Earth's leader, called for a high-level meeting with her closest advisors. The discussions centered on whether to propose peace talks to the Galactic Empire. The president's advisors were divided, with some urging caution and others advocating for a bold move. "We've achieved a significant victory," one advisor said. "The Empire is on the defensive. It's the perfect time to push for peace." Another advisor was more skeptical. "We need to be careful. The Empire may be desperate and could use this as a chance to regroup and strike back. We need to ensure any peace agreement is fair and will hold." After careful consideration, President Carter decided to extend a formal offer of peace talks to the Galactic Empire. The offer was sent through diplomatic channels, and the response came sooner than expected. The Empire, eager to avoid further losses, agreed to enter negotiations. The talks were scheduled to take place on a neutral space station located midway between Earth and the Empire's territory. The station was equipped with advanced security and communication systems to facilitate a secure and effective dialogue. Both sides prepared for the discussions with a mix of hope and apprehension. The delegation from Earth was led by President Carter herself, along with her chief negotiator, Ambassador Michael Hayes. The Empire's delegation was headed by Grand Chancellor Zarek, the leader who had overseen the war. The two sides met in a large conference room, surrounded by representatives and advisors. The initial atmosphere was tense, with both sides wary of each other's intentions. President Carter began the proceedings with a firm but diplomatic approach. "We are here to discuss a path to peace," she said. "The recent battles have shown that neither side can achieve a decisive victory without further suffering. It is in our mutual interest to find a resolution." Grand Chancellor Zarek responded with a measured tone. "The Empire recognizes the need for dialogue. We have suffered losses, and it is clear that continued conflict is not the best course of action. We are prepared to discuss terms that could lead to a lasting peace." The first few days of negotiations were challenging. Both sides had their demands and concerns. Earth wanted assurances of safety and a withdrawal of Empire forces from disputed territories. The Galactic Empire sought guarantees of security and respect for their remaining holdings. During the discussions, both delegations encountered several contentious issues. One major point of disagreement was the future status of the outer colonies that had been heavily damaged during the war. Earth wanted these areas to be ceded as part of the peace agreement, while the Empire wanted to retain control over them. As the talks progressed, the atmosphere remained cautious but hopeful. President Carter and Grand Chancellor Zarek made efforts to bridge the gap between their respective positions. They held private meetings to address sensitive issues and explore potential compromises. One breakthrough came when President Carter proposed a joint reconstruction effort for the war-torn areas. This proposal aimed to rebuild the damaged colonies with cooperation from both Earth and the Empire. The idea was to create a shared responsibility for recovery, which would help build trust and foster collaboration. Grand Chancellor Zarek was intrigued by the proposal. A joint reconstruction effort could indeed be beneficial for both sides. It would demonstrate our commitment to peace and provide a foundation for future cooperation. With the joint reconstruction proposal as a starting point, the negotiations gained momentum. The delegations worked tirelessly to finalize the details of the agreement. They addressed issues related to trade, security, and mutual respect. Gradually, the contentious issues were resolved, and a draft agreement began to take shape. On the final day of negotiations, both sides gathered for the signing ceremony. The mood was one of cautious optimism. President Carter and Grand Chancellor Zarek stood together at the podium, ready to announce the terms of the peace agreement. The agreement, known as the Treaty of Solstice, outlined the terms of the ceasefire and the steps for rebuilding and cooperation. It included provisions for the withdrawal of Empire forces from disputed territories, the establishment of joint reconstruction projects, and the creation of a framework for future diplomatic relations. President Carter addressed the assembled representatives. "Today we mark the beginning of a new chapter. The Treaty of Solstice represents our commitment to peace and cooperation. It is a testament to our shared desire to build a better future for both our peoples." Grand Chancellor Zarek echoed the sentiment. "The Treaty of Solstice is a symbol of our willingness to move beyond conflict. It is an opportunity for the Galactic Empire and Earth to work together for a common purpose." With the signing of the treaty, the war between Earth and the Galactic Empire came to an official end. The peace agreement was celebrated as a significant achievement, marking the end of a tumultuous period and the beginning of a new era of collaboration and mutual respect. As the delegates returned to their respective worlds, they were met with a mix of relief and anticipation. The road ahead would require dedication and effort, but the promise of peace offered hope for a brighter future. The Treaty of Solstice had brought an end to the conflict and set the stage for a new chapter in the relationship between Earth and the Galactic Empire. The new order, with the Treaty of Solstice signed, Earth and the Galactic Empire embarked on a new chapter in their history. The end of the conflict was a relief to many, but it also brought new challenges as both sides worked to implement the terms of the peace agreement. The transition from war to peace required careful management, and the world was watching closely to see how the new order would unfold. On Earth, President Elena Carter and her administration were focused on ensuring that the treaty's provisions were met. The joint reconstruction projects were a top priority, and efforts were underway to begin rebuilding the war-torn areas. The goal was to restore stability and demonstrate a commitment to the new era of cooperation. The joint reconstruction teams, composed of both Earth and Empire personnel, faced the daunting task of restoring the damaged colonies. The work was immense, involving the rebuilding of infrastructure, providing aid to displaced populations, and addressing the economic and environmental impacts of the war. The teams were made up of engineers, architects, and humanitarian workers from both sides, united by a common purpose. One of the most significant challenges was fostering trust and cooperation between the former adversaries. The two sides had spent years in conflict, and deep-seated suspicions were not easily erased. The joint teams worked tirelessly to build rapport and demonstrate their commitment to the shared goals of reconstruction and healing. In the Galactic Empire, Grand Chancellor Zarek faced his own set of challenges. The Empire's leadership had to manage internal dissent and address the concerns of their population, who were wary of the new peace. The transition from a state of war to a state of diplomacy required careful handling to maintain stability and support for the peace agreement. Zarek worked to address the concerns of his people by promoting the benefits of the peace treaty. He highlighted the opportunities for economic growth and the potential for improved relations with Earth. Public speeches and media campaigns were used to build support for the new order and to demonstrate the Empire's commitment to the treaty. Despite these efforts, there were still factions within the Empire that opposed the peace. Some military leaders and political figures felt that the treaty was a concession and that the Empire should have fought on. These dissenting voices posed a challenge to Zarek's leadership and threatened to undermine the stability of the new order. On Earth, President Carter faced similar challenges. While the majority of people supported the peace, there were still factions who questioned whether the treaty was in the best interest of Earth. Some argued that the Empire had not been sufficiently punished for their aggression and that the treaty might lead to future problems. To address these concerns, Carter and her team worked to demonstrate the tangible benefits of the peace agreement. They emphasized the progress made in the reconstruction efforts, the successful integration of the joint projects, and the positive impact on international relations. Public forums and media coverage were used to engage with citizens and address their concerns. As the months passed, the joint reconstruction efforts began to show progress. The damaged colonies were slowly being restored, and the collaboration between Earth and the Empire's personnel fostered a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. The joint projects helped to build trust and create a foundation for future cooperation. One of the most notable achievements was the successful completion of a major infrastructure project, a new spaceport that would serve as a hub for trade and travel between Earth and the Empire. The spaceport was a symbol of the new order and a tangible sign of the positive changes resulting from the peace treaty. The spaceport's inauguration was a significant event, attended by leaders and representatives from both Earth and the Empire. The ceremony was marked by a sense of optimism and celebration, as it symbolized the beginning of a new era of collaboration and mutual respect. President Carter and Grand Chancellor Zarek both spoke at the event, emphasizing the importance of the new order and the shared commitment to building a better future. Their speeches were well received and helped to strengthen the resolve of both populations to support the peace process. As the years went by, the new order began to take shape. The former adversaries continued to work together on various projects, from scientific research to cultural exchanges. The cooperation between Earth and the Galactic Empire led to advancements and innovations that benefited both sides. However, the transition was not without its difficulties. There were occasional tensions and disagreements, but the commitment to the peace treaty and the shared goals of progress and stability helped to resolve these issues. The new order was built on a foundation of collaboration, compromise, and mutual respect. The story of the Treaty of Solstice became a symbol of hope and reconciliation. It demonstrated that even in the face of conflict and adversity, it was possible to find a path to peace and build a new future. The legacy of the peace treaty served as a reminder of the power of diplomacy and the potential for positive change. As Earth and the Galactic Empire moved forward, they faced the future with a sense of cautious optimism. The new order was a testament to the strength and resilience of both civilizations, and it set the stage for a lasting peace and a prosperous future. The journey from conflict to cooperation was a challenging one, but the success of the peace process offered hope for a brighter and more harmonious galaxy.